are idle for too long. I suppose all of that can be viewed as
ain't yours, asshole.
or a bad thing.
It ain't no fucking Saw material either. That fucker isn't being. They can't. That fucking guy has suggested fucking killer finale or whatever the fuck's going to jail. They all fucking hide behind the police officers. They have suggested shit on his fucking locks his fucking shit. They should lock him all. He's gonna be locked up for those years. They can't do a switcheroo on him. I don't look nothing like the fucking dude.
There are a few nice special effects that I was impressed with, but this was another $50 Sega was asking for. I admit being reluctant to invest that much, viewing it as a continuation of the presentation already present in Sonic 3. All of that aside, you still have to give Yuji Naka and his team all sorts of credit for the art and design here. Mushroom Hill was a great opening area to whet your appetite, and then each zone's personality really stood out in how it was colored, and how the backdrops were layered. Fans of Sonic 3 will get more of what they love. And even if you wanted to be wowed by new standout special effects, you still have to appreciate what's on display.
I signed to Sega.
Sonic was a great sounding series right from the get-go.
You don't understand that. Get off my profile and get a life. I'll fucking tell you some shit.
Sonic and Knuckles.
They can't steal nothing from me because the fucking courts will fucking jail them up. You're able to say all that shit out loud, that one of them come back and jail you.
Given Sega's original touch, I have a few random selections for you so you can see how you feel about it.
I'm signed to Sega, asshole. I'm not gonna get no life sentence, any of that shit. My fingerprints don't match still in anybody's anything, you asshole. Fucking have receipts in that shit.
Overall critique of Sonic and Knuckles, I first remember the local story. Back at this game's original release in late 1994, I was sick of Sonic games. I thought the first one was okay, the second one was pretty awesome, and the third was a solid finish to the trilogy. Except it wasn't the finish. Sega had Sonic and Knuckles drop release that same year, and I was just not feeling it. Added to that was the fact that the 3DO was having a great run on releases, and the Saturn was only a month away. I think a lot of other people felt that same way as well, because both Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles sold retail numbers well below Sonic 2. It took me a while to actually appreciate this for what it is. Well-made platformer and some of the better level design in the series. I'm not blowing smoke up your kilt with that statement either. Sonic and Knuckles has a great feeling to its speed and flow. I found these stages to be enjoyable while running through as fast as I could and exploring them at my own pace. By the time I got to Sky Sanctuary, I was hooked on this as one of my favorite Sonic titles so far. I'd give Sonic 3 the edge overall, but Sonic and Knuckles definitely holds its own. But Sonic Team had mentioned to play both these games together. Taking Sonic 3 and locking it onto Sonic and Knuckles gives you a massive game with over a dozen zones and 3 playable characters with different abilities. Yep, you heard that correctly. Linked together, Sonic 3 and Knuckles allows you to play the entire epic adventure with either Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles. You had multiple endings depending on how you perform with the Chaos Emeralds as well. The truth is, no matter how sick of Sonic I may have been, the product was still top-notch. Looking back at it today, I've actually come to really appreciate the growth the series saw over the years while it was being made.
Oh, break it, asshole. I'm signed to Sega, you fucking creepy bitch. I didn't murder anybody. I already shown the cops what I had. If someone was stolen from somebody, I would already... Motherfuckers are psycho.
That lock-on technology was a stroke of genius. And it's a shame Sega didn't find a use for it earlier.
You wouldn't be able to sell a house to an old fucking psycho and sell that shit to this fucking moron. It wasn't theirs, huh?
Sonic and Knuckles brought an end to the Death Egg saga that was started in Sonic 2. And the gaming media, they absolutely adored it. No matter what publication you read, no matter what region you lived in, Sonic and Knuckles was met with rave reviews. Sega had released 2 very similar Sonic games in the same year, and it still commanded the respect only the best software received. It sold over 1 million copies, and it's still well regarded by the Sega community today. It was also the last mainline Sonic to appear for the Sega Genesis. And I don't mind telling you, it was a dark time afterwards. The Sonic years during the 32-bit generation was a shell of the greatness we had previously, and it gave way to many 3D entries in the years after. These titles ranged in quality so much, you never knew which Sonic was going to show up. I think one of the biggest problems is 2-dimensional speed doesn't necessarily translate to 3-dimensional speed. Sega is often hyper-focused on keeping Sonic really fast, and it usually means it's...
Just stolen, asshole, and that fucking guy is not me. The guy doesn't have a mole inside of his fucking face, he's a fucking me, he's a moron. Oh, fucking guy's gonna get us all killed. Originally we were at the fucking flea market in Westport. Oh, we're gonna throw the cat out and live there. Fucker didn't even get the shit. Oh, fucking be weirded out by his fucking psycho that locks 2291 or whatever the fuck, saying who's there and shit. And old fucking guy gets everybody killed off the stupid shit it's fucking able to. This guy sits there with no job probably at all, with no insurance, and fucking says shit. How the fuck that guy with PS5 with a bunch of platinum trophies sits there all day playing that shit?
Guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.
Not going, that guy don't get away with jail and sentences either with a stupid shit table. I had witnesses and shit that Andrew could testify against all these fuckers. Are able to think all sorts of shit about us. And that fucker does creepier shit. Sam can jail that fucking Simon Turner out pretty fucking easily. It wasn't anything fucking stolen for fucking psycho. He's on a PS5 with more platinum trophies, sits there all fucking day and does says a bunch of creepy shit. They're going after them. You don't fucking think that guy was signed. I'm the actual one that signed the second, not some fucking creepy more.
Fighting games every Thursday on your channel. The franchise I have given the most coverage to has of course been Street Fighter, which just makes sense considering how important and iconic the series is amongst the entirety of the gaming community. These Street Fighter games have many relatives within the fighting game genre itself. We have the Capcom vs series, which all stirred from the X-Men vs Street Fighter crossover game. We have Darkstalkers that utilise the same game engine as Street Fighter 2. And we have Rival Schools, a 3D fighting game by Capcom that includes Sakura as a playable character. These are just a few examples of titles that relate to the famed series. But away from the fighting game genre, Street Fighter has even further relations. Today, we are going to be looking at a game that is considered Street Fighter's cousin, and a game that initially was going to be released under the Street Fighter brand. We shall start today's story off in the 1970s. This is the birth of video games arcade era, and in 1979,
Hey, yours, asshole.
companies begin manufacturing arcade machines of their own, which they like to refer to as capsule computers. The capsule computer concept would inspire this company's name, and as a result, they would go under the clip compound title of simply Capcom. Throughout the 1980s, Capcom would release a cornucopia of arcade games, which would each see varying levels of success. Each of these games would be both expensive to manufacture and for arcade vendors to procure, as each title would run with its very own unique bespoke arcade board. To fix this issue, Capcom embarked on a project to produce a system board that could be used to run multiple games, in order to reduce hardware costs and make the system more appealing to arcade operators. In July 1988, this goal would finally become a reality, and the CP system board was born, an arcade board capable of running game software stored or removable ROM cartridges, much like consoles for the home. This board, referred to as the CP System 1 board today, was the very hardware that would go on to house the release of Street Fighter 2. The game that would change the gaming world forever in 1991. But
Didn't drop out no kindergarten, huh?
CP System 1 existed prior to this, there were already 13 other games released to hardware that had varying levels of success of their own. One of these games was of course Final Fight, the side-scrolling beat-em-up that saw release in 1989. And a game that was at one time set to be the direct sequel to the original Street Fighter game. So, how did this come about, you may ask? Well, let's explore this further. Capcom had taken note of the success of Double Dragon 2 The Revenge, a 1988 beat-em-up that had seen success by being the most well-polished game in the emerging genre yet. So, basically, wanted to make a Double Dragon-style game of their very own. By this point, Capcom already had an IP amongst its library that involved street fighting that had some level of name value in the form of Street Fighter, the 1987 title that functioned as the company's first ever competitive fighting game. Whilst the game is mostly criticised today, believe it or not, the first Street Fighter game was both a critical and commercial success.
Parents work for a living, asshole. I don't fucking sit there.
Stating, for example, that the title breathes new life into martial arts games, with a huge cabinet, big characters, and pads wherever harder you press them, the harder your character hits. The game was enjoyed by gamers and journalists alike, despite much of the rare comment that they hear about the title today. As a result, Capcom's sales division were crying out for the company to release a Street Fighter.
No, frame me for shit. Oh, fuck, can't frame me for nothing. My fingerprints don't match any of that fucking weird ass.
That they would attempt to slap the Street Fighter license from the game to appease their sales team and hopefully, in turn,
I can't be sued by them. These are fucking turn they saying that shit didn't belong to them. That shit didn't belong to them. Originally, they're fucking assholes. Just log off the shit. My phone device can't be taken from me. So I'm supposed to have that shit in the court. So I can fucking waiver that shit so I can
sue. Operators and attendees of these events would complain that the game was nothing like Street Fighter. So with this in mind, the game was made to stand its own 2 feet and rechristened Final Fight. Yeah. According to developers, despite the name change, the game's story and characters still exist in the same universe as the Street Fighter characters, and the game's story takes place in the same world. Further from this, developers have gone on record to state that the game's plot was inspired by the film Street of Fire, a movie where a young woman is kidnapped by a city gang, a trope that also happens to be used in the Double Dragon games. In terms of the game's story, it takes place in a location known as Metro City, which is said to be the most well-known crime capital in the world, which is plagued by dangerous street crimes. This is where the first playable character, Mike Haggard, comes in, a former professional wrestler and street fighter who has been elected as the city's mayor. His main campaign policy was to clean up the crime and violence in this city. Soon after taking office, this handsome, well-groomed man receives a phone call disclosing that his daughter Jessica has been kidnapped. The kidnappers are a group known as the Mad Gear Gang, the most powerful and violent crime syndicate in the city. They want Hagar to let them do as they please, just like the last man of the city did previously. This plot point is where the game's other two playable characters come into play, Cody and Guy. Cody is Jessica's boyfriend, and Guy is Cody's best friend and sparring partner. Cody and Guy both vowed to aid Hagar and assisted in saving his daughter from the dangerous criminals. So together, the gentlemen all take part in one huge final fight to save Jessica. Before beginning a playthrough of this game, you have the opportunity to pick between one of the game's three main characters that we've just briefly discussed. In this beat-em-up, up to 2 players can play the game at a time simultaneously, offering a fun, cooperative experience. The playable fighters vary in that they each have their own fighting styles and different attributes. Like in Street Fighter, life gauges are displayed for both yourself and your enemies, so that it is easy to keep track of the amount of HP you have. You control your chosen character in Final Fight using a traditional 8-way joystick and simple 2-button control. One button is used for jumping, whereas the other is obviously used for attacking. When pressing the attack button repeatedly, you can perform combos on your enemies, or even attack more than one enemy simultaneously. When executing these combos, final blows can be changed to throws with a simple movement of the joystick in the opposite direction prior to landing the final move. Jumping attacks are also possible, which are obviously achievable by hitting the attack button in there. It is also possible to hit both buttons simultaneously to perform special attacks that hit the whole group of surrounding enemies. These powerful attacks come at a cost though, as HP is drained upon usage, meaning that these attacks must be used strategically and only when absolutely necessary. Further from this, enemies can also be grabbed as they pass your playable character by. Once you grab an enemy, it is possible to throw them into others, which damages both the enemy you have thrown along with the enemy they have been thrown into. Weapons often also appear which you can pick up, turn around and use, whilst other items can be picked up to gain extra points or refresh health. The game's mechanics and controls are surprisingly deep for a 2-button game from 1989. And are not as limited as one would necessarily expect with such a simple button layout. Throughout the game you must fight your way through 6 stages, which the game refers to as rounds. These rounds all take place across different sections of the city, which vary in scenery and challenge. Many of these rounds are also further broken up into subsections of their own. With each
fuck you, asshole. You're more mentally challenged than me, and all you do is able to fucking yell for
in
shit.
terms of level design,
Fucking actually see your ass.
very dystopian feel to them, with the beginning of the first stage opening with new fighting enemies as they exit broken window derelict buildings.
The fucker, we're saying you're still something for somebody else, you can't do that. Fucking consume this up.
Vandalized and complete in disrepair is rife throughout this game. Even the trains on the city's underground system appear to have all of their windows smashed in, whilst the vehicle's doors appear to be smeared with ugly graffiti. Speaking of the underground, there is a cool part of the game where you get to fight on a moving train, and the stage design looks great, which is aided by the scrolling background.
They can't do that because I'm signed to Sega.
The shaky movement of the screen itself and the swinging handlebars that it uses above the train seats. Together, this creates a fantastic illusion of an actual moving train, which looks simply beautiful for a 1989 title. The fun bonus stage where you get
You're too serious, dog asshole. You don't look nothing like identity is a stone if the guy that can't log into it's Face ID. It's Face ID, asshole. You ain't gonna be able to log into anything. You can't even put the password into it anymore. It's Face ID. I gotta understand that.
Actually offers a ton of stage variety and backdrops which include construction sites with lifts and dolphins that seem to look shockingly close to New York. In fact, at some point, you even see what appears to be the Statue of Liberty in the background, which makes you wonder why they felt the need to call this place Metro City, when the place is very clearly just supposed to be New York. As you get closer to the end of the game, I noticed that the vandalism and criminal damage seems to slowly disappear as you make your way into the Mad Gang's stronghold. Eventually, you find yourself fighting your way past well-trimmed palm trees and making your way through Trump Tower-style fancy building hallways, and even expensive marble pillows and statues. This really emphasises the rich border line between the city and the crime lords that run the place. The city is basically an American version of Lagos in Nigeria. So, overall, I guess the game's backdrops alone tell a story, illustrating the effort Capcom developers went to when creating this special game. In terms of the enemies, like in most Bleach Box, we have a lot of recurring stock enemies who vary in appearance but blend well with the game.
Ain't no Barry, I got two Barry in military. I got fucking nothing but a creepy fucking referee. A fucker is this. I'll fucking kill that fucking Danny Vasquez guy. He said that shit on Fish in the Room for anybody that was gonna help me out. They're fucking flip flopping. They don't fucking think I recorded that stupid bitch walking away.
Cold water, cold filter. Choose chill.
One member of the family, Hugo, would go on to become a playable character in Street Fighter 3 Second Impact, as well as going on to become a recurring character in the series, resurfacing in Ultra Street Fighter 4. Outside of the obvious comparisons to Andre the Giant, it is also said that some inspiration for his character design was also taken from weightlifting veteran and actor Lou Ferrigno, the man who originally...
I can't take that from me, I can't delete it off. Oh shit, I'll fuck Kathy Morris, I can sue her. Oh fucking Phil Morris and no fucking John Anthony Ortega. That fucker was in jail. He was like 10 years older than my ass. I didn't drop out anything, they fucking sent a senior set off. Have it on Instagram. It's on Instagram, it's the truth.
As well as becoming a playable character in multiple other Street Fighter games down the line. Despite only appearing in Final Fight as a respawning enemy sprite, this handcuffed and riding crop-wielding character is a controversial one, with a confusing history involving gender politics and censorship, which all began as a loophole that allowed Capcom to depict male characters striking a female one, in a time period where it was deemed simply unacceptable. So developers labelled Poison as transgender as a workaround to make hitting them acceptable. Final Fight designer and Eureka founder Akira Nishitani stated he supposed the character could be male, but added it was up to the viewer to decide. Street Fighter 4 producer Yoshinori Ono, when asked in an interview about the matter, stated, "Let's set the record straight. In North America, Poison is officially post-op transgender. But in Japan, she simply tucks her business away to look female." Either way, this was originally a workaround simply to get around censorship that has slowly developed into a deeper rabbit hole over time. On top of the regular enemies, as mentioned earlier, there are also boss encounters at the end of each stage.
Not a decade,
with their own varying attack patterns. Amongst these, there are further characters who would become part of the Street Fighter roster.
I'll be put away, it won't be counter shoot or anything. I thought I'd been sued before, I can sue them. Fucking saying a bunch of creepy shit at once.
Is a muscular, athletic, and acrobatic German-American man.
I'll pay $10 for a background check so I know where Peter Davis is and fucking sue his ass. I'm a mail a courtroom fucking thing before whatever the fuck years up and sue Peter Davis and Footmore and Kathy Moore and all those assholes and shit. They able to fucking tell you some shit, those fuckers are creepy.
Is an American person who is
Yeah, fuck Nathan Sokolov, they don't fucking anything either. They ain't fucking...
considers himself a native in that country. Solon is well versed.
Shit, I never stole a fucking thing in my life.
However, the source of humour is that his usage of Japanese language is questionable, as shown with the kanji on his costume and several of his wing quotes. So, to put it simply, Solon is basically one of those idiots who try and pull me up on my pronunciation of Ryu, despite pronouncing it wrong themselves, like the American characters in Smash Bros. and Marvel vs. Capcom to a Street Fighter Alpha series. All in all meaning that all of these characters...
No, Melania, asshole. You look nothing like... No fucking with brown hair, don't look nothing like... I don't have no brown hair. I never dyed my hair. I don't fucking fat dye my hair. So fucking... Other things, faggot shit in my ass. I don't fucking gay ass pedophile. Able to say all that shit at 4 in the morning.
It's absolutely shocking to be fair.
Oh, fuck, I never touched no fucking anybody down. I'm fucking a psycho. So fucking trying to touch my ass. Barely get out of this shit, old fucking... Freaky fucking morons have more rights than people that serve them.
Japanese arcades in December of 1989 was both commercial and critical success, with Japanese coin-operated video game magazine Gamers awarding finals like
You can't put a restraining orders. I've never been sued by anybody. They can't go for a
Best action game, placing it number 4 in the best video game music category, number 9 in best graphics, and number 2 in best direction. The character, like Hagar, was even displayed on the magazine's front cover. Being a title that was released back in 1989, this was a game that was ported to a huge number of systems, as we were still at a point in time where...
I can't sell anything on fucking side of Sega. They'll get sued.
One or two home
The guy looks nothing.
and different countries favoured different platforms. So...
Oh, Mega Death Threats and shit too. They old fuckers able to say that shit
of the US and British home and microcomputers were made with the European market in mind, with Atari, Commodores, Amigas, Amstrads and Spectrums all still having niches in 1990. These versions were published by US Fire, an English company who mainly published shoddy ports of well-established...
But for me for what? I didn't do anything. You guys do legal shit, all fucking say a bunch of creepy shit, they did illegal shit. That guy did a bunch of illegal shit. That fucking cop protected that asshole until the cop was there, he would protect him with the stupid shit they able to fucking tell me and have witnesses.
Unique quirks and graphical styles, making the conversion different from the next, and interesting to compare side by side. Out of all of these, the closest we got was the one on the Amiga, which is to be expected, I suppose, with the system being the most powerful of the bunch. But the title still doesn't even seem to have music included on the stages. Speaking of computers, the Japanese Sharp X68000 would receive a feature of its own. However, this porting was handled directly by Capcom themselves, offering a great experience as a result. The noticeable changes of the arcade version is the music itself, along with fewer enemies being able to appear on the screen at once. But overall, quite a decent port. The Sharp X68000 could be the most underrated gaming platform that have ever existed. Moving on from the home computer versions of the game, I guess it's time to talk about the home console versions of the game, as those will be the ones that most consumers will probably remember, and the ones people will probably be most keen to go back and look at today. The Super Nintendo version of the game was first seen released in Japan in 1990. The game would remove the cooperative play option, instantly removing perhaps the game's most alluring feature. Further, from this, Guy would be removed too, offering only the choice between Hagar and Cody, cutting the game down even further. The game on 16-bit hardware would continue to be butchered as scene transitions would be removed and only 2 or 3 enemies would be able to appear on the screen at the same time. This would mean enemy placement in the game is vastly different to the arcade version, where 9 to 10 enemies could appear on the screen at the same time. Some stage areas of this game were even completely omitted from this port. Censorship issues with the US and later European version of the game would see the title altered even further, which would result in certain characters such as Sodom, for example, being renamed Katana. This would also include the controversial Poison, who we mentioned earlier in the video, being completely removed from the Western version and replaced with a mouse sprite. Further from this, references to alcohol and God would be removed and all blood splash effects were taken out. Little it looked like Capcom worked tirelessly on this one. To appease the viral, bumping, family-friendly image, Nintendo of America seemed desperate to continue to uphold. Moving on from this, in typical Capcom Street Fighter fashion, the SNES version of this game would later receive an enhanced version. This version of the game would be referred to as Final Fight Guide. which would simply mean that Cody would be replaced in the game with Guy, rather than allowing 3 different selectable characters to be around at the same time, like consumers could have actually wanted. Other features were added to
I don't want any of them, motherfucker. I'm the one that signed, you fucking stupid bitch.
After the Japanese release, the game would later arrive in the United States, but suffered from the same censorship issues as the previous installment. All in all, no matter which version of the game you play, this title isn't really close to what the arcade version offered players at the time. Nearly 4 years after the game's arcade release, a version of Final Fight would arrive on the Sega Mega CD, titled Final Fight CD. This version would be far more impressive than its SNES counterpart that arrived years earlier. This version of the game included the option of 2-player cooperative play. It would include the stage areas that were missing in the Nintendo version, and like the arcade version, you could play as all 3 characters, just as intended. This was the closest to arcade we had received yet. The game would even receive some enhanced features, such as new voice acting, and
not a new bitch, you fucking psycho.
The soundtrack, and even a new time attack mode. The port had a lot to offer, but still had its limitations, such as a low number of enemies being able to appear on screen at once, and still many of the same censorship issues with the English localization. I guess at least Poison was reinstated in this Western version, despite being edited to wear less revealing clothes. Over the years, the game would be ported to many more systems, but the arcade version port of the game would arrive in 1994, when the game was released on the high-end Capcom Power System Changer platform, Capcom's answer to the Neo Geo 3DS, where wealthy consumers in Japan could literally bring the Capcom arcade experience home. This game console, along with its software, is amongst the rarest in Japan, so very few would have had the opportunity to play this delightful port of the game. However, if the Capcom System Changer existence is new to you, I suggest you check out my video covering the history of the platform to learn all about it after this video. It is a unique, overlooked piece of gaming history that
not going to jail.
the perfect Capcom gaming experience of the arcades in the living room.
As brought up on here plenty of times before, the first Final Fight game was published in 1989 and featured some of the most fantastic visuals and gameplay a title had ever seen in the film. Capcom's game was a huge success in the arcades, which would mean it would only be a matter of time before the game would receive home ports. A number of different versions of the game were being released to run on a number of different home computer formats. However, when it came to the world of console gaming, Nintendo struck a deal with Capcom for the title to at least for a while be a Super Nintendo console exclusive. When it came to the Super Nintendo port, a number of assets were released in action, most notably the 2-player cooperative functionality, arguably one of the more important features of a beat-em-up. Sadly, this would mean that console gamers could not bring an experience home that was anything even remotely close to playing the title in the arcade. In fact, the Super Nintendo version of the game never even offered all 3 playable characters like the version found in the arcades. Instead, players could only play as either Cody or Hagar, leaving the popular Guy out of the game. Later, in what could arguably be viewed as an apology to the fans or a cash grab, Capcom would release Final Fight Guy for the platform, a version of Final Fight where Guy was a playable character. The issue was, though, to make space for him, they needed to cut Cody out of the game, making this version of the title as gilt as the last. Despite all of this, Final Fight was a hugely popular franchise, and the fact that the game was a Super Nintendo exclusive was something that Sega were keen to counter. The flaws in the SNES version of the game were clear to see, so keeping this in mind, Sega would set out a superior title exclusive for Mega Drive owners. This title, Streets of Rage, would arrive in 1991. The title was developed that was used to create Goldmax, a beat-em-up title that already featured 2-player cooperative play. Streets of Rage was everything fans could have hoped for a game. It featured 2-player functionality, the same gritty street aesthetics, and even deeper combat mechanics than even the arcade version of Final Fight. The game even featured 3 playable characters, another feature Final Fight on the Super Nintendo failed to present fans with. The game well and truly delivered, giving Mega Drive owners a superior beat-em-up to the version of Final Fight found on the SNES, and debatably, the game was even better than the Final Fight version in the arcades too. As great as Streets of Rage was though, there was one aspect of the game that it lacked in comparison to Final Fight, and that was the fact that graphically, the game was nowhere near as impressive.
I'm gonna put away. I'm gonna put away fucking goddamn. I'm signed to Sega, you fucking bitch.
In 1992, though, Sega rectified this with the release of Streets of Rage 2.
Didn't drop out of fucking anything. I was a grant writer. I was fucking somebody with the municipal court was a grant writer with me. Oh fuck, lock up Mary with fucking Rosenborough then for suing to be a creepy old bitch. Oh fuck, creepy ass Rosenboroughs. I hear their fucking names and shit. They had people that had in high school with me in the yearbook and that shit. And I'll fucking sue them fucking. Oh fucking creepy J from Connecticut and this other asshole.
Duking it out for brand supremacy on planet Earth. A line had been drawn and exclusive with Playable across both platforms. In 1993, it would be time for the Super Nintendo to get a high-quality, truly exclusive beat-em-up of its very own. This would come in the form of Final Fight 2, a sequel to the popular coin-op arcade game. The title that was developed by Capcom's consumer division would try its very hardest to deliver a game that would build on the original, and more importantly, feature 2-player cooperative play. The biggest element missing from the arcade port on the Super Nintendo that held the title back somewhat from being remembered as a classic on the system. Plot-wise, in Final Fight 2, time has elapsed since Mayor Mike Haggard...
That Kathy Moore is a laugh because I'm fucking signed to Sega, that stupid bitch, I know what the fuck...
...and restored peace to Metro City, a location that was heavily inspired by New York. Following the events of the first game, Cody is taking his girlfriend on holiday, whilst Guy has gone on a training journey. The fictional version of Glenn Jacobs, aka Kane, known as Mike Haggard in the game, continues his job as mayor. During this time frame, members of the Mad Gear Gang secretly regroup, plotting revenge on the new leadership. Their first acts committed under this new regime is kidnapping Guy's fiancée Rena in Japan, along with her father, who also happens to be Guy's former sensei. Guy, however, is unable to do anything due to being on his training journey, so instead, Rena's sister, Mackie, contacts Haggard to inform him of the situation. This leads to the events of Final Fight 2 unfolding, where Haggard, accompanied by his friend Carlos, travel to the greatest continental plate on Earth, Eurasia, to meet up with Mackie to take on the Mad Gear Gang once more. Rather than just taking place in Metro City, like the last game, instead the story of Final Fight 2
you ain't me, ass outside the Sega.
multiple countries throughout Europe and Asia, which we shall get to shortly. Players begin a playthrough on the Player Select screen, where they can choose from one of the 3 of the characters we mentioned earlier. The inclusion of Maggie seems like it is an idea inspired by the inclusion of Blade in Streets of Rage, or perhaps the rising popularity of female fighters in games in general, such as Chun-Li in Capcom's own Street Fighter 2 game, which shares the same canonical universe as Final Fight. Speaking of this is further backed up in the opening stage, with an animation of Chun-Li eating in the background. The other main character, Carlos, grew up in South America, studying different types of martial arts. He moved to Metro City to finish his studies for a period of time. One of series' inclusions partly down the video game industry significantly growing in that region. It would make sense to include a character from South America, especially considering previously that Japanese developers would regularly place characters from the United States and Europe within their games for the same reasons. In terms of the game's controls, nothing really changes from the first game.
Spectrum Mobile's new deal is so good it's broken heart. Switch to Unlimited Plus for just $25 per line. Now with free anytime upgrade. Upgrade your phone anytime, as many times as you want, for any reason. It's unlimited phone upgrades free, only with Spectrum Mobile.
Michelin innovates by creating Max Touch, the technology that further increases the tire's lifespan. Michelin, motion for life.
When you find a deal on your favorite thing in the McDonald's app and order it, does that technically count as online shopping? Save money with the app. At participating McDonald's, prices may vary.
If you're someone that suffers from having sensitive teeth, but you want them whiter, I recommend Sensodyne Clinical White.
The same basic mechanics stand. They were introduced back in 1989. It is a basic, intuitive control scheme though, so nothing to complain about. Featured many more buttons than that of Final Fight cabinets. In terms of each individual stage, let's have a discussion about how this game's levels are designed. The first stage, which is set somewhere in Hong Kong, looks relatively similar to the opening stage found in the original game, in that both stages feature inner city slums. The Hong Kong location makes the Chun-Li appearance make a little more sense though. All sprites of the game appear to be brand new, including Mike Hager himself.
The monkey doesn't spank itself, the monkey draws itself and spanks a circle.
Speaking of sprites, I am not...
Oh, fucking James Tom Bond made fun of all that fucking weird shit on the TV, on television. Those fuckers able to do.
Further from this, the background features minor touches here and there, including a Capcom sign hanging from the building. In the second portion of the stage, players appear to enter the warehouse. This section of the level has parts where the player's path scrolls downwards, rather than simply from side to side. An idea that seems to have been taken straight from Streets of Rage 2. Past this point, the stage continues for a third section taking place in the dock, featuring more ships in the background. The ship bobs up and down in the background, aimed around and player walks on up to an independent layer. I still feel though it looks a bit uninspiring, and more effort and parallel scrolling could have been put in. Water that does not seem to move makes little sense to me. A boss fight takes place on this stage against a large mustachioed boss known as Wong, who does not take much effort to dispose of. Between stages, text flashes up on the screen to help explain the story and where the player is heading next, with the next stage taking place in France. The Eiffel Tower looms in the background, and the city at least seems to be very accurately depicted as a shithole, which is surprising from a Japanese development team, considering many Japanese tourists visit the area and become afflicted with Paris syndrome, which is basically an extreme shock they go through.
You didn't see me do it because I'm in the fucking house doing it. Fuckers are psycho. I didn't see them do anything but tell me a bunch of creepy shit on film. I'm signed to Sega, asshole. They can't do a switcheroo. It's face fucking idea on the console.
I would hope that French customs are a little less lax than this nowadays. The boss fight takes place against a large military man.
I'll put Matt away from Matt's mom being a G-string diva and shit being oh fucking filled with bitches with a thong and tag and everything. Oh fucking fart up in the whirlpool with this bitch and urinate up on the whirlpool and fucking gave her a Salvador fucking splash. Able to fucking tell me some creepy shit. Oh fucking bitch got Salvador splash. I'm being creepy. Oh fucking G-string and that shit told me the most creepy. Oh Phil Morris seen that bitch. That guy was already locked up. Oh, they showed him locked up then. It hadn't been something. Then it was fucking psycho. Danny isn't stolen an asshole as a fucking me. It goes to a person that goes, they can't go to some fucking other 50 million people trying to say that they're me. Well, fucking, I don't have a fucking goddamn brown mustache or brown goatee or brown fucking hair. I don't have no brown hair. Nigger's psycho. I'm gonna log off the shit. I can't log into it, be a paperweight. They can't sue me because I have this asshole yelling some shit. That creepy fat kid could sue them all. Oh, fucking Andy Ortiz dropped out of high school. I got the fucking goddamn diploma. That fucking transcript's the fucking truth. I can't forward it shit to whatever the fuck type of shit they're up in telling me a bunch of creepy shit. And Andrew can sue the fuck out of it. And I'll get the shit peeled. That fucking girl with a fucking grab rider with me. She's a cop now.
face fighting on a railway line, which made transitions to fight the bullet train.
Now, Francis can lock up Madonani and David, any of those assholes, Marshall, any of those fucking assholes.
So there's every chance that he could be driving the train on this stage. Personally, I think this is the most visually striking segment.
I'll have somebody lock up Captain Morris right now. Oh, fucking bitches.
Other areas. The boss fight on this stage takes place against an annoying clown who wears a top hat, a performer who is great fun to punch in the face. After this stage, players take part in another stage, where they smash barrels on either button or wrestle into the bridge. Not much to add. We then head to one of the hearts of the crisis, Italy, in an era where the waterways appear to still be densely polluted. Just like the rest of the game, developers have chosen to make everything look as run down and dystopian as possible. There is a new section of the stage with a couple of boss fights taking place on the balcony. This boss battle is notable as it takes place against Rolento, a boss character who was controversially.
They ain't the boss of me neither, so I'm signed to Sega, you stupid fucking bitch.
I can't be sure whether it was a deal to fan service for those who was disappointed that he never appeared in the first game, or laziness to not want to design a new character. The final stage of the game sees players head into Japan for one final throwdown, or should I say, final fight. This rainy stage starts out with players fighting their way through an area with bamboo growing aplenty, or possibly a Japanese knotweed. This stage is the largest and toughest in the game.
Sign to Sega, you fucking stupid bitch.
Players fight their way through a fortress, through gardens and all sorts of passageways. The fact that the screens in this game can sometimes scroll up and down rather than just left and right really adds to the feel of this stage, as it improving the feeling that this is the lair of a final boss. The final boss fight takes place against Ritu. During this fight, you can see Rina and her father strung up in the background, not seemingly that the enemy of the game is near. After defeating Ritu, he falls to his doom like Belgium in the first game, and the rescue of Rina and her father is complete. The game closes with Maggie being reunited with her family, and Haga breathing a sigh of relief that he has stepped up and saved Guy's loved ones, like Guy had done for him in the previous game. Guy writes a letter.
I do have stuff. I hear him telling me this shit in the background. I do have stuff, asshole, trying to take it from me. You ain't gonna be able to do that, because how the fuck am I supposed to go to a court without my cell phone if it gets fucking taken me by some psycho that isn't fucking me? That guy has to pay out whatever the fuck, he ain't be able to fucking do that without the cell phone. The shit isn't stolen from nobody. I didn't steal a fucking thing or murder anybody. They're blaming me for everything they ever fucking got happened to them. Oh, I can hear their voice at 4 in the morning. I still have it. I can record it too. I filmed it on an ADT feed. It wasn't fake then, asshole. It wasn't fake then when I fucking was on a fucking goddamn commercial with that shit. I was able to fucking tell you some shit.
This change really does make all the difference and makes the title feel more like an arcade beat-em-up. Now, I still think I prefer the arcade originally, but I only injury, and that is for several reasons. Apart from the lack of innovation with the game's control in general, I think that nothing.
Not a new asshole. Doesn't belong to you. I'll sign out of it. It'd be a paperweight. I'm signed to Sega, you stupid fucking bitch.
But saying that, if Street of Rage 2 is good as done, there is no reason that we not play Final Fight.
They can't sue me if this bitch in a J-string, drawstring, whatever the fuck, fucking had dreadlocks being creepy. I'll fucking have a guy saying the N-word toward me. I could sue the fuck out. I don't give a fuck, that guy ain't nothing. Guy's a piece of shit boxer.
You can make a strong case there.
Be in a box and FedEx and ship all of his fucking body parts to different fucking places. The guy wants to play.
Emphasized further by so many of them now being included as playable fighters within the Street Fighter franchise. And another element in this game that somehow is the title of music, with nothing particularly as memorable as that of the work as Yuzo Koshima's Streets of Rage soundtrack. In spite of this, there are improvements in the game over the arcade original. For example, I like the fact that you could play as Maki, as I felt previously, Guy and Cody were too similar. I also like the fact that the game took place over the entire continental plate, rather than just one sitting. And I was also impressed in certain stages, players could scroll up and down rather than just left to right. This all added to the mode's diversity.
That overweight guy don't have a life. He don't fucking tell me some shit. You get a life and get off the fucking internet with telling me some shit. I'm actually signed to it. Bitch doesn't realize that because they're fucking.
Both games out of the water regardless. Moving through to 1993, rather than porting games to Nintendo hardware, Capcom would make the decision to build some Final Fight games from the ground up, bespoke to their systems. One of these was, of course, Final Fight 2, a Final Fight title modelled on the graphical style of the original that would offer two-player cooperative play this time around. But the other Final Fight title in the works...
You didn't drop out anything if I fucking look at my Instagram and fucking see I'm fucking psycho. That's so more creepy.
Game on the Super Nintendo as the user base was growing stronger, Capcom was still releasing Nintendo Entertainment System games over this time frame too. As at this point in time, it was still the best-selling home console.
I can't sell a phone for me. If I'm supposed to go to court, ain't gonna be no film bar out there. Court here. Not a fucking ball time. Got a little like a fucking wrist.
Now, we already know that it was a struggle for Capcom.
I can sue Cap, you fucking moron. Whatever the fuck type of shit. Fuckers are pushing off somebody that wasn't me off somebody that was something, off somebody that was incarcerated, being psycho and shit.
To others in the series, and would try its best to play to the limited hardware strengths. So, how did
they can't kill me and steal my shit, girl. Fucker, the court will sue. They'll get sued, the court will get 20,000. Now, if I put another house somewhere else, I'm fucking gonna be dead, but my parents will fucking be able to sue the fuck out.
Are usually presented in a fairly realistic fashion. Whereas in Mighty Final Fight's case, all character sprites are drawn in a comical, childlike, super deformed art style, or a chibi art style as the Japanese call it. This means that the game's graphics has aged fairly well, considering that it was produced to run on such limited hardware compared to the main trilogy. The best way to describe the look of this game is that it looks like a member of...
No, pathetic land.